So, Kethels and Xanderhall have been doing a little bit of content recently on a particular individual, and I actually did not know who this person was, though apparently a lot of people do. So today, we're going to go over a little bit of the history of a guy named Cybersmith. But first, let's go ahead and get into the fan art section. This first piece we have here is from Lore. I deleted the other one because the camera was a little dirty and I wanted it to be cleaner. It is a lovely rendition with me and my partner, Saki. The only depressing thing about this is that in this picture, I'm like a foot taller than Saki, and in reality, that's about how much taller she is than me. My genetics suck. The next one we have here is from Yakobo the Witch. In default.txt, I heard Cirrus say Cirrus One Piece, and I decided to give Slime Cirrus a pirate ship. And the next one we have is from a Nubian, Cirrus.txt. Jesus Christ. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, then please drop them into the fan art section of the Discord. But with that all said, we got some shit to talk about. And yes, Lucky Otter, it is the Monarchist. Side note, if you are a legitimate Monarchist, I truly think that you have brain rot. Every single one of you that believe that, like, some type of clandestine, divine favor, nobody gets a say but the person at the very top shit, you think that's a good system of government, just heck off. But besides that, let's go ahead and take a look here. We're going to use ye old lovely resource, Know Your Meme, for today's research. I am going into this blind, because I have no idea who this person is, but apparently he's called the Human Pet Guy. So let's see here. Cybersmith, also known as Human Pet Guy, is an internet personality primarily known for his views on human pets. He went viral for a 2017 Tumblr post where he defended his hat against accusations of being a fedora, and then segued into a hypothetical proposing that having a forcibly disabled human pet would not infringe on other people's liberties. What? 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 His presence on Twitter led to several users unknowingly sharing his selfies and learning about his internet history, gaining him renewed significance in August of 2023, the year of our Lord. Oh, boy. On October 17th, Tumblr user Uncle Father made a text post that read, "Me wearing a dog collar and a leash, looking up at my man friend in his trench coat and fedora. Let's go out in public where you can walk me like I'm a dog in front of people who are visibly uncomfortable." To which Cyberspace said, "It's not a flipping fedora, it's a bowler hat." Man, that sounds like something somebody wearing a fedora would say. This isn't me trying to kink shame people who have pet kinks. This is me wondering why somebody would want a literal human slave. The thread subsequently led to Cybersmith describing a hypothetical scenario in which he brings a forcibly disabled human pet into a restaurant, insisting that doing so would not, hypothetically, infringe on anyone else's personal liberties. He also proposed that opposing such a hypothetical pet would be irrationally prejudiced. The post gathered over 45,000 notes in 6 years. It's okay to kink shame non-consensual kinks. It's okay to do that, I think. No, I'm not even going to say a thing. I know this. I know this. Yeah, kinksters don't claim this fuck. I would hope not. I would hope not. But let's go ahead and take a look here. It said, you owe me a Yeah, I guess I do owe you that one. Jasa Proxy, thank you for redeeming your points. If there's no consent, just... Oh, well. There, you got your thing. You got your thing. You got your whole ass thing. Lizit, thank you for resubscribing. So it's not a flipping fedora, it's a bowler hat. Keep Goobin' Goober. A fedora's a fedora's a fedora. Anyway, with regards to the original post, what would actually be wrong with that? There's no mention of public nudity, nor of treating the human pet in a way that would be considered strange for a dog. Should people be obliged to modify their behavior so that the irrationally prejudicial do not experience discomfort? So, motherfucker, admit you have a pet play fetish. There's no shame on this website. Please consider the following scenario. It's 5 to 10 years from now. You're sitting in a restaurant enjoying a lovely meal when I walk in, accompanied by my wife, children, and my human pet, whose genitals are covered up as it enters on all fours and is wearing underpants. What? I'm gonna drink. If my family and I then make an order of our own at the table next to you, in what way have we infringed on your freedom? What rational basis do you have to demand we leave our beloved pet at home? Fuck it all. Let's consider a more extreme scenario. It's 5 to 10 years from now. You're sitting in a restaurant enjoying a lovely meal. When I walk in without my wife and children, for whatever reason, they haven't accompanied me. Probably the pet. Probably the pet. That's probably why. With my surgically modified human pet... wearing a collar. What does he mean by surgically modified here? My pet has been spayed and neutered. Okay. Though you can't tell because its genitals along with its boobies, if it's a female, have been covered up. It has no vocal cords. Okay. It walks on all fours, not by choice, but because its toes have been removed, along with the tendons in its ankles being severed. It may also have had its thumbs and the last 2 segments of each finger amputated, making it easier to care for because then he wouldn't have to trim the fingernails. Perhaps I've even humanely removed its eyes. How do you humanely remove its eyes? How do you do that? What? Even in this scenario, I haven't infringed upon your liberties. Irrationally prejudiced is precisely what you are. No. There's no irrational prejudice there. This is just looking at you like the insane creep you are. That's all we have here. This page has since been deleted with the user posting on the account The Cybersmith. The text post was screenshotted and shared to various subreddits in subsequent years. On December 12th, 2017, a Redditor posted a screenshot of his Tumblr blog where he says that despite his best efforts to impregnate Tumblr with the seeds of his wisdom, the womb of Tumblr has swollen. Only with out-of-context mockeries. Dude, because you deserve to be mocked. I'm sorry, but no. Jesus Christ. He literally says, despite having worked for months to impregnate this website with the seeds of my wisdom, the womb of Tumblr has swollen. Only with out-of-context mockeries of my own person. And a throwaway comment concerning Ashley Ray's front jiggly bits. Alas, when I shower the denizens of this domain with the glorious benediction of my thoughts, I find the uterus of the internet is barren. I want to go. I want to leave. I want to go away now. I don't want to be here anymore. What the fuck is this man's problem? What the fuck is he doing? What the god, guy? What the fuck? Dude straight up thinks he wrote a modest proposal, but sex instead of a... He instead wrote a Dahmer manifesto. Stop the world, I want to get off. Razor, I don't think we need to be using the phrase get off today. I don't think we get to use that phrase ever again in the next lifetime. That Did you really phrase it? How would you have phrased it? Dude, you unironically type like you're in an abridged series. And that's not a good thing here. Also, Orla Seraph, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. Ha. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. On December 18th, a Redditor named QB the Space Ferret posted a screenshot of another Tumblr post by him where he mistakes someone's discussion of the stock market with a discussion about ammunition. Any idea why Trump banned bump stocks? 40 chests, something about winning the best deals? I don't know. Whatever excuse to reconcile the fact that the NRA still backs Trump but it violates the Constitution. Don't bump stocks hurt your fingers if you use them enough. It's better to just use an actual automatic firearm. Or a spear. A skilled spearman can launch a swift volley of thrusts too quickly to be easily parried. Ah, yes! The best self-defense in America against people with guns. A spear! A volley of spears! What? On August 10th of 2023, which is why this has restarted again, a user called I Am Cybersmith engaged in internet discourse with a Twitter user, Samoid Core. A report initiated by Cybersmith insisted that the minority white ruled apartheid state of Rhodesia was awesome, though. Samidcore went on to note Cybersmith's infamy on certain parts of the internet, and then posted a screenshot of asking him, "What is your problem?" Seen below. On let's see here. Seeing people spot a Cybersmith take in the wild and mock him for his blue check is like watching somebody who's never heard of Hitler criticize him for being a Southern German. It's deserved, but it's so far down on the list of things. On July 28th, user Geebmeister quote tweeted a selection of selfies tweeted by Cybersmith, captioning the post, crying tears of joy because someone actually looks like this. The post gathered over 38,000 likes in 2 weeks. The guy posted 34,000 likes in 3 days, seen below. He just looks like a Magic the Gathering player. I say this as a Magic the Gathering player. Said Rhodesia isn't fucking real. Said human pet guy was born in England. The virality of the aforementioned post led to various internet users learning about Cybersmith and his opinions for the first time. Yeah, like me. User Juniper noted this fact on August 12th and gatherings of over 45,000 likes in 2 days. User Pizza Mentals posted a screenshot of another Cybersmith post in the reply to Juniper's post, gathering over 11,000 likes in 2 days. On August 13th, user Beth's Burden posted screenshots of an interaction taking place in the replies of a post about Cybersmith. You wouldn't believe it, but this man retweets diaper porn on main. I don't care about that. Some people are into ABDL. I don't care. Wait, Vienna isn't actually in Italy, no different cities. You were right. When you look cities up, do you usually do it through the Doctor Who wiki? Jesus Christ. Okay, so Monarchist is the least insane thing about this guy, it seems.
Honest?
So now I'm curious. How badly did this debate go?
I think I might just call it. I mean, I am exhausted. Cybersmith is here? Okay, wait a second. Cybersmith, what is your Discord? I want to talk to you.
I just want to talk.
Discord is just Cybersmith? Okay. I have sent the friend request. I have to change the stream title, I guess. Why am I having an unprompted conversation with the human pet guy? I'm not doing that. That's a stupid idea. I'm just gonna end the stream.
And then she does.
Good night, everyone. Why not? Okay, fine.
Wait a minute, was that it? Who else did I see in that chat? One sec.
Good night, everyone. Why not?
I thought I saw someone I recognized in that chat.
And I was actually curious, why do people keep calling you the human pet guy?
Oh, that. A few years ago now, I made a thought experiment in an ethics debate, and people took it out of context. It would be like calling Schrödinger the hat poisoner, or calling Jonathan Swift the baby eater, because of a thought experiment.
So wait, you don't actually have a human pet or want a human pet, but it was like a thought experiment and people just rolled with it?
It's out of context,
Yeah,
bro!
it was a thought experiment. I wouldn't have room where I'm currently living for human pets.
It's definitely a thought experiment because I wouldn't have room for a human pet. Which definitely means he probably has considered it.
But you don't want one, or you wanted one?
I think that's outside the scope of this discussion.
I see.
Wait,
I don't think there's anything.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. So, but you wanted one. No, that's outside the scope of this discussion. Bro, it's an impromptu discussion. It's not outside the scope of anything. What?
What's wrong with it? I'm just letting you know.
Fair enough. I was actually quite impressed Gremlo never brought that up, but it seems that any time I discuss politics with people, they seem to want to bring that up. But I had a discussion with Gremlo recently in which he didn't bring it up.
I mean, it's an interesting part of who you are. I mean, like, whenever I talk to people, they ask me fucking insane questions. There's a lot associated with who I am.
I guess what you are most associated with, I guess in general, would be your your backstory with Kiwi Farms, and more recently you accused Mommy Big Dick of having committed sexual assault.
Oh, yeah?
But that's the thing, a lot of the content you've done is other left-wingers cancelling you. Or you cancelling other left-wingers. I just say, honestly, are your core values so incompatible with the right that it wouldn't be worth, crossing the aisle, so just because, I mean, you'll get more done. What you'll be doing will be different. You may be perhaps advocating for a return to feudalism instead of what it is you currently advocate.
Wait,
for.
what?
You'd be able to get more done because you wouldn't constantly have...
Wait, did he just suggest that Keffel should become a right-winger and advocate for feudalism because you'd get more done? Did he just advocate for fucking grifting? What the fuck? Fedekagawi says, 75 bits, Cirrus warning, this debate is incoming brain damage.
have to worry about people cancelling you.
I mean, most of the people who go after me are incapable of canceling me. Like, they don't share an audience with me. The people who they engage with will never respect me. And a lot of them I don't even consider to really be on the left. Like, I definitely wouldn't consider the Chinese government a leftist government or people who support authoritarian governments.
What do you mean you wouldn't consider... We're talking about Red China, yes? Not Taiwan, Red China. Of course they're left-wing.
What? What? How is the entirely authoritarian, everything ran by the state, the more left-wing country when their freedom index is jank-ass? What?
The political party literally has the word communist in its name.
Right, but what makes them left?
Yeah, their political party has communist in its name. God, I guess North Korea is a democracy then. That North Korea must be a democracy because they're the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, right? Right? They gotta be a democracy. 100% they have to be. Is this a real person? Is this a real person?
Is it just a self-identification thing?
Well, that's clearly part of it. I mean, you're transgender. Don't you believe in self-identification?
I feel like when you're talking about political orientations, there needs to be substance behind it. I don't think it's...
All right, they have a plan. They have a centrally planned economy. They've outlawed pretty much all other political parties. They've heavily suppressed traditional religious practices in favor of mandating a state materialist, or what I would consider essentially a state religion that is materialist in its outlook. It makes no claims of extra material properties, but it is, I would argue, religious in its nature. I would say all of those are extremely left-wing principles.
How are those extremely left-wing principles? How? How?
They manipulate their own currency to an extreme degree. You know, we do that to some extent too, but nowhere near as much, and I wish we didn't manipulate our own currency.
But you believe in... You're a monarchist, so you're not necessarily against authoritarian governance.
I am a reactionary libertarian monarchist, and I will tell you this...
But you're still a monarchist. That's just another way of saying idiot.
If you look through history, most monarchic governments have been far less authoritarian than Republican governments. If we look at France, the Republic that succeeded the monarchy carried out far more political killings, was far less tolerant of individual freedoms. We saw the same thing in Russia. We saw the same thing in China. The idea that monarchies are inherently authoritarian is just untrue.
But they literally have one person at the top who has supreme power over everything. That's how monarchies work, my guy. How is that less authoritarian? How? In what way?
The most authoritarian governments in history have been Republican governments. If you look at Britain, the history of Britain,
Right, but
the most dictatorial leader in our history was a man named Cromwell. He was not a monarchist. He, in fact, killed a monarch and took over as a Republican leader. He was the Republican leader, and that's... Oh, well, at the time they used the word Commonwealth, but that's something people don't forget. Britain used to be a republic, and it was a dictatorial republic.
Okay, right, but like
I don't think the idea that you've made, where you say
the king
you like
is
authoritarianism,
the king is covered by sovereign immunity. Like he cannot commit a legal wrong. He's immune from civil or criminal proceedings. That is authoritarian.
Yes. Do you not have the exact same thing for your government? In fact, you have more than that because.
What do you mean, my government? I live in Northern Ireland. We have the same king.
So then, what are you complaining about?
Bro, she can complain about whatever the fuck she wants. What?
Complaining about the fact that they're immune from the legal system.
Yes, but the exact same thing happens under Republican governments as well. That's a basic principle of separation of powers. And in fact, I would argue that republics are often go first.
Wait, so our republic definitely has immunity for everybody in government. That's why we just did our coverage of so many people getting in trouble with the law who worked under Trump. That's why Trump's been indicted, because they're immune, right? They're completely immune, which is why our legal system hasn't been doing anything to them, despite all the things it's been doing to them. What?
If we look at the United States of America, for example, which is a republic, we can agree, a democratic republic, in fact, a constitutional democratic republic, Hunter Biden is functionally immune to prosecution just because he's related to the current president.
What? How is what the fuck has he done that needs prosecution here?
I feel like this could easily be disproved by looking at Trump right now.
Notably, he's not president anymore. They didn't do this to him while he was president. Being president functionally made him immune to this. They're now doing it to stop him from being president again. Why are they so desperate to throw all these prosecutions at him? Because they know they'll have to stop if he becomes president. So you have explicitly a legal...
Wait, so we've never pursued a president legally for anything, ever? My god, Watergate never happened. Weird. Said Hunter's being prosecuted for tax evasion right now, immunity my ass. Yeah, it's almost like if you ignore things happening in the world. This guy's probably obsessed with Hunter Biden's laptop.
Political system in that country, where those in power are immune from prosecution, those out of power are subject to prosecution whether or not they've done anything wrong. And I see your chat talking about impeachment, but your chat are ignorant fools because impeachment explicitly is not the same as being convicted of a criminal offence. Bill Clinton was impeached for raping Monica Lewinsky, but he didn't have to join the sex offenders registry. He didn't have to go to prison or be fined. He doesn't even have a criminal record, even though it was found as a result of that impeachment that he was a rapist.
Him finally getting prosecuted is the result of actions that started while he was still president. The wheels started moving long before what is currently happening.
The wheels don't take 3 years to turn, let's be honest.
See, I don't agree with you.
Yes, they do. What? Yes, they do. They have to gather evidence. They have to gather evidence. Also, yeah, Bill got impeached for lying under oath, not... Jesus Christ.
Want to impact the upcoming election. Let's be honest, it doesn't take them 3 years to prosecute someone.
Yep.
They do if they're still in discovery. They do if they're still gathering evidence.
Yes, it does. It takes quite a long time to actually get the legal system to do anything, regardless of who it is.
It doesn't seem to when it's just some ordinary person committing some ordinary offence, or allegedly committing some ordinary offence. It didn't take them nearly this long to go after, let's say, that Kyle Rittenhouse bloke. I'm pretty sure it took them a lot less time than this. So the idea that it simply took this long, no.
Because the difference is Kyle Rittenhouse was on camera with his weapon doing the things he did. That's why it was different. It's harder to take somebody when we're having to grab them for conspiracy, for instance, because conspiracy takes an infinitely longer amount of time to gain substantial evidence for. What?
They wanted to do it now because now is when they think it will impact the election most. So the idea that the sovereign immunity of the monarch is a bad principle or a bad idea, is functionally any system has to have that. If you don't have that, then you can't have meaningful separations of power. You can't have the judiciary be independent of the executive and the executive be independent of the judiciary unless the judiciary is unable to prosecute the executive. If the judiciary can prosecute the executive, then there's two possible outcomes. Either the executive takes control of the judiciary, or the judiciary becomes sovereign over the entire system.
No, that's not how that works. Your separations of power make it to where they are beholden to each other. The judiciary can prosecute the executive, and the executive gets the ability to elect the judiciary and even fire the judiciary. Like, they have power over each other. That's what separation of power is. You don't do separation of power by you don't do separation of power by making one of the people immune to the fucking other. That makes no fucking sense. What? You don't do it by making one person immune. That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. Does this guy eat fucking toasted Cheez-Its every day as his only meal? Is his brain starved of all proteins? What?
There's no meaningful separation of powers when one branch of government can just throw the other branch in jail. You have to have the executive be immune to the judiciary. No system has ever
No, the fuck you don't!
functionally managed to avoid that. That is the functional reality of any system of government. If you want a separation of powers and multiple co-equal branches of government, you can't have any one branch of government directly exert its authority upon another.
But
and as the authority of the judiciary is to find people guilty of crimes, it cannot be able to do that to the executive, otherwise it would be placing itself above the executive.
But then the executive has the ability to change it. This is the problem with conservative thinking. This is the entire fucking problem with conservative thinking. This is literally it. This binary mode of thinking. This binary mode of thinking that if you just so happen to have the ability to prosecute one way, then that guarantees that things always happen one way. The river always only flows one way. Stop doing this binary level of thinking. Start using actual logic. Start using actual nuance in your conversations. Powers are separated, which means powers have different ways of exerting their various authorities over the other branches. The judiciary system can prosecute the other branches of government. That's a function that it has in the United States. And the executive branch of government has the ability to elect people in the judiciary system. This is why the president is allowed to choose people who can come into the Supreme Court. There are ways in which the executive branch has power over the judiciary system, and there are ways in which the judiciary system have power over the executive. That is literally how checks and balances work in a functional country. Holy fucking shit. Said a point, not elect. A point. You're right, Rosalind. You're right. A point, not elect. Still. How bad does this get? How bad does this get? I need to know. I need to know. Let's skip ahead a little bit. I don't want to go through this entire debate. This is debate reviews are like Vosh's and Xanderhall's territory. They can do that all they want. You know what's bad when Saracen ends up calling America functional? On paper.
Leave well enough alone.
No. The call for joining the Republic is happening from inside the North. I don't think there have been any modern statements, at least since the peace process, of calls from the Republican government of the Republic of Ireland for the North to join them.
They literally do have
Okay,
that,
they're talking about
that
Ireland. I don't know a lot about
Pretty
that. Let's
cool.
go forward.
Given that, given how
he seems to
ruthless
stay
he
out
is.
of partisan politics, he just doesn't like being slandered.
That's definitely not staying out of politics. That's actively
He's staying out
censoring
of
dissent.
partisan politics. He's not choosing one political party over another, and I think it's a good idea to have a head of.
Yes. Not getting into politics is not choosing one party over another. Politics isn't just about parties. You know that, right?
State who is non-partisan.
I mean, that is probably ideal, but at the same time, you're advocating for a system where you don't get to choose that. You just have to hope for it.
Because if people can choose it, it very often ends up becoming partisan. Partisan politics, unless it's a very, very strict.
Yes. Let's just choice from people. That makes the world better. Anybody have a guillotine?
Unless there's basically no way for it to be handed out as spoils, like the
being
outcome of a referendum.
Pro-monarchy is partisan. Very much partisan.
Which political party is pro-monarchy in the UK?
The DUP.
I've never voted for the DUP.
That is the pro-monarchist party in Northern Ireland. That is very much a partisan party.
Has the king officially endorsed them?
Has the king officially endorsed the DUP? Good question, actually.
And there's no, he's
It doesn't matter if the kings officially endorsed them. It's a party that exists that what?
stayed out of that issue. And I actually think it's a little bit unreasonable for a political party which aspires to form His Majesty's government to be anti.
God bless Keffels right now. God bless Keffels for going through this shit. What?
The king.
Hello? Still there?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
still there. I think the internet may have gone out.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
So yes, but as I've said, a lot of the left-wing groups that you're a part of have this tendency to cancel their own. I think ContraPoint's got into a bunch of cancellation scandals. So has Vorsh. So has Hassan Piker. I think there was even a rumor about Philosophy Tube having sexually assaulted someone. My point is, this seems to be a trend among you left-wingers to cancel one.
Oh boy, he's actually right about this one, surprisingly. There is a trend. There is actually a trend of people on the left just absurdly canceling each other for no reason other than they want to be the more pure people, I guess? Like, unironically, this is the one thing he's actually correct on. Weird. According to the human pet guy, the king is nonpartisan because he hasn't joined any. Yeah.
Another.
What?
Wouldn't you rather be part of a political movement that didn't do that?
Do I have to be a human pet?
What? Wouldn't you? Okay, so let me get this straight. The political movement was mean to me. Wouldn't you rather want to be part of a political movement that's not mean to you? Like, bitch, I'd rather be part of a political movement that actually cares about human rights, and specifically mine and my partners and my friends. I care about that political movement. It doesn't matter if they're nice to me. I'd like them to be nice to me, but they don't have to be because there's different people in the fucking movement. Also, if you just go with the side that's being nice to you, we have a concept called the lions eating people's faces party. And oh, wow, isn't it so weird when the people who are nice to you but disagree with your existence politically end up eating your faces? Just the leopard eating faces party eating faces like it does. Just so weird. So weird. So Jackal says, fuck Savage, not great debate tactics, but still hilarious. Like Adhom, but honestly can't be mad. No, I couldn't be mad either. I could not be mad either.
No.
Well, that's kind of sad.
You don't have to. You don't even have to detransition. We've got people like Blair White who are transgender.
I'm sorry, I can't join the right. That's a bit silly.
You...
I think you're a very silly man.
That's one way of describing
I
him.
think that's entirely fair, but why do you want to keep being part of a political movement that seems so determined to eat its own, is my question.
Because they're the ones that are right? I'm sorry, but if one political movement is basing their stances on facts, logic, and human compassion, then that's the political movement I want to be a part of. And as it turns out, the fucking scapegoat that the Republican Party has been throwing all of their ducks in a row against has been people who are transgender, and yet the science is on the side of people who are trans. I would much rather be with the side of people who are not being assholes to people through the laws they're writing, because that's important, and not being assholes to people based on fucking science. Like, yes, there is a problem with the left eating its own because we have this weird idea. We have this weird idea of, like, people needing to be pure. The only good ally is a pure ally. If you said something bad 10 years ago and you haven't apologized for it now, it waggles the finger. Like, that's a problem we have. We do it on Twitter all the time. We do that shit on Twitter all the time, and it's infuriating. But here's the thing. Which group would I rather be part of? The group of people who advocate for human rights, but does so in an asshole-ish way? Or the group of people who want to strip human rights away from people, but are nice to me sometimes? Fuck that latter group. I'm not so weak-willed that I need people to be nice to me all the time in order to work with them. That's stupid. That's weakness. That is wanting comfortability over the right thing.
We have a positive vision for the future. We have an idea of what the world could be like.
I don't think you're actually. I don't think you're going to find much agreement from like American Republicans on the monarchy. They very much.
Agreement, but they don't tend to cancel. American Republicans can get on just fine with British monarchists, and they can debate civilly and not try to cancel each other. There is a fairly broad spectrum of disagreement.
My guy, do you know what happened the last time America got in a little argument about monarchy? Do you know how many of your people we killed on our soil? I'm sorry, but blood from the British literally watered American crops for a good decade. It's called a Revolutionary War.
Agreement on the rights. We encourage healthy and respectful debate, and we don't constantly try to cancel each other, even though we do.
It's definitely not canceling, and it definitely wasn't done with a smoothbore musket.
Have disagreements of opinion, just as some of you leftists do.
Right. I mean, I disagree with very much the core of what they stand for. I disagree with authoritarianism, including monarchy.
Again, what do you think is meant by the word authoritarianism? We are possibly arguing at cross purposes. When you say authoritarianism, what does that mean?
I think unelected people making decisions in government is absolutely authoritarian. Like, the Chinese Communist Party is not elected. It's an authoritarian government. The king is not elected. That's an authoritarian position to have.
So it has absolutely nothing to do with how much power the government has or how often it exercises it. As far as you're concerned, it's just a matter of why they're in power.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's both of them. It's how much power they have and how they gain that power.
As long as there's a state, then yes, people are going to have the power of the state exercised over them.
So
Also, Snorlax, thank you for redeeming your points for...
If a ruler were to rule, like, say, Vlad the Impaler, but be elected, it would be not authoritarian.
No, that would still be authoritarian.
The context is that you're bringing this up in. I actually don't know what Vlad the Impaler did. But I also don't understand because, like, if a monarchy just went out today and decided to set up shop in an indigenous, uncontacted tribe's neighborhood and then conquer them and set a puppet government up, you would probably say that's just bringing civilization to them.
The indigenous, uncontacted tribe is almost certainly already a monarchy. Do you think that these?
Yeah, but that doesn't answer that. That doesn't actually address the point that you think that displays of force and taking over other nations is fine. It's just acceptable.
How else would civilization spread? Civilization didn't...
How else will civilization spread without violent takeover? What? 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 My dude! Did you think that Britain just got civilized because somebody took them over? What? What the fuck?
It takes ages to spontaneously manifest.
No, I think that might. I think that might.
It takes ages to spontaneously manifest. That's fine. Just let it. You just admitted that it can.
And right rhetoric is what led to the development of fascism.
And what led to the collapse of fascism? Oh yeah, it was the giant colonial empires that fought the fascists.
What led to the...
Like that Winston Churchill bloke you earlier decried.
Wait, no, the UK didn't stop the Nazis. That's not true.
I think the Luftwaffe, after the Battle of Britain, might disagree. The fact that it's...
Like, during the Second World War, they were already starving out their allies in India, to the point that the Soviet Union had to intervene and redirect shipments of grain to Bengal.
Where did that grain come from, I wonder? Was it Ukraine, perhaps?
I mean, yeah, Stalin was an authoritarian dictator. I didn't have to defend them to point out the fact that that was a terrible thing.
But Stalin was an
I think that yes, I know, I don't agree with him. He was a dictator.
You just said that if he's elected, he's not authoritarian. Your definition of authoritarian...
That's not what she fucking said. You goddamn pet play dipshit.
Joseph Stalin wasn't elected. The Communist Party of the Soviet Union was not elected. They came
How did they select their next leader?
How did they select their next leader? Through internal...
They had a vote.
Oh, if you have an internal vote in an unelected party, that doesn't count. That's not representative of the people's will. You can't gauge people on who they want to be their leader based on an internal vote of bureaucrats at the highest level.
The vast majority of the Russian population at that point was either openly at war, in the case of the whites, or was made of illiterate peasants.
Wait, we're talking about World War II. We were talking about the Bengal famine.
Wait, did he just say that if they were openly at war if they were the whites? But if they were other people, then he got cut off. Hold on, what?
Was made of illiterate peasants.
Wait, we're talking about World War.
Okay, so there were the white people and then the illiterate peasants.
The Defias gang in Northshire wears burlap masks, but the Defias in Elwyn
You
wear
know,
linen, which I can use to make fine.
I think it was a bad idea to open up WoW Classic during this.
Fashion something for you.
Sarah's
Defias
wrong
gang
whites.
members
Okay.
have camps pocketed
Look,
throughout
I'm
England.
pre-primed for bad shit here. Wrong whites. Okay. Just hold on, it gets worse. Why does it get worse?
We're talking about World War II. We were talking about the Bengal famine.
Yep, at that point in history, so you're saying that Joseph Stalin was unelected. What would have constituted an I'm genuinely asking you, what more democratic process could the Soviets have gone through upon Lenin's
Who's
death
that?
to have elected a leader?
Beauregard
Having a
is-
multi-party democracy and voting powers for the average
The
person.
population was on the average person in Russia at that point was an illiterate peasant.
And that makes it so that they have no say. Why?
I'm sorry, you're going to set up polling stations for these people? Some of them way out in rural Siberia?
Yes.
Like, I don't.
Yeah, you know that, like, we can do mail that far away, right? Like, we do that on the front lines for America. We let people make letters to their loved ones, and then we have people who carry those letters through our supply lines to get them back to people. Like, it's a thing we've done for years.
I do not like the Soviets. I think it was absolutely unacceptable for them to kill the Romanovs. I think Russia should have continued to be a Romanov-led monarchy. But if you're going to accept them killing the Romanovs, let's be very clear about the practical realities. There was absolutely no way they could have had any sort of election that would have satisfied you. It would have been a complete practical impossibility. They were a majority illiterate population of isolated farmsteaders.
See, this is like the thing that you do where it's like the topic of genocide comes up and you manage to divert the topic because you know you're in the wrong. You can't defend it. Like, I bring it up and then you start going off about Romans and ancient Greek civilization, and that has nothing to do with the topic at hand.
Well, I think it very much does. Your argument is that Stalin was bad because he was authoritarian. I would agree with that.
Yes, he was the leader of an unelected. He was a leader of an unelected government, and he committed ethnic cleansing against the population.
That is where I disagree. I would say he was authoritarian in terms of how much power he had and how he exercised it. In terms of how he came to power, simply put, once they killed the Romanovs, once Lenin was dead, there was no other practical way for them to select a leader except to have an internal election.
You are a monarchist. You literally believe in a system where the head of state can dissolve government. What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yes, I absolutely think they should have just left the Romanovs in power. I think they should never have taken the Romanovs out of power. They should never have become a communist country. Once they did, though, there was absolutely no way at that point in the point of where they had to choose.
That has no. What does that have to do with the Bengal famine? Why is that acceptable? Why do you have to go and pivot every time? We're talking about people who died because the UK government has
the UK government redistributed resources during
a famine,
during a war. A famine that
like Winston Churchill was quoted saying that he hates Indians and that they're a beastly people with a beastly religion and that it's their own fault for starving because they breed like rabbits. It's a fucking. He is a monster.
Oh, he wasn't very politically correct, but come on, this was like the 1940s.
I don't give a shit that it's the 1940s. He wasn't very politically correct, that's all. He wasn't very politically correct, that's all it was. It was the 40s. Come on. No, a monster's a monster's a monster, a monster. I don't give a shit.
See, I could, like, concede on your point. Yeah, it's like the 1940s. People are evil. He starved millions of people to death.
By, sending food out during a war?
Sending food? Yeah, by taking...
Yeah, by sending food out from another country that you had colonized. That's... Yes. When you respond vaguely, because this is the thing that people like this do. This is the thing people like this do. They'll use something that you said. They will take what you said and they will technically repeat it back to you. But by removing all of the verbiage you used, by removing all the examples you gave, by breaking what you said down to its lowest possible common denominator in conversation, they can make what you say sound more or less reasonable. Right? That's a thing they can do. So, as an example, if somebody jumps out at you and they punch you in the stomach, and you retaliate back and you get to the point where you've won the fight, right? But I ignore all the details. This sounds like somebody who just did self-defense, that's all. But if what you did was take that person, break their arms, gouge out their eyes, rip off their fingernails, break their toes in half, and then pull your knife out and start carving their flesh after they attacked you, yes, you did do a self-defense, but there was a point in time where you walked over that line for self-defense. You walked past it, and it stopped being self-defense, and it started being its own version of maliciousness. It stopped being that. But if you completely ignore all of that other context, that leaves you with, what, are you angry that I defended myself? Are you angry that I defended myself? Are you angry about that? It sounds reasonable when you remove all context, when you remove all pieces of information that are part of the story. That's what these people like to do. They like to remove all pieces of information that are important to whatever you're saying to make it sound more or less reasonable. By boiling something down to the bare mechanics of what happened, as opposed to bringing in any details that were part of that conversation. Like, if somebody's family is starving, and their child is about to die of a preventable disease, and they do not have any access to medication, nothing. So this person goes and robs a pharmacy, stealing loaves of bread, stealing food, and stealing milk, and stealing the medication that their child needs. And an accurate headline to that story would be, Person X goes and steals from local pharmacy, holding them at gunpoint, and is now wanted for arrest. Yes, that is true. That is a thing that happened. But I've removed the context of the need for it in the first place. The child that would have died without that medication, the family that would have starved without that bread, and how many options this person may or may not have even have already tried. I've removed all of that information, all of that narrative, and by doing so, I have made you increasingly unsympathetic to this person, whomever they may be. That's how this shit tends to work. That's exactly how this shit works. This hunter is running away.
Food away from the colony that was having a famine, and then saying he doesn't care because he hates Indians.
That's just not politically correct, though. That's all that is.
So what would you have preferred him to do, Capples?
I would have preferred him not to export food during an active famine.
Wow. You say it was authoritarian of him to do that?
Would I say it's authoritarian? Yes, because it was a colony.
He was
where
elected.
He was ruling over.
He's literally just trying to focus on this thing as if authoritarian people can't be elected. As if it's impossible for somebody who's authoritarian to be elected. But we know for a fact that people can be elected and be authoritarian.
Over a colony. Like, there was no democracy in India. They didn't choose that. They were conquered. That is authoritarian. If you conquer another state and rule over them, that is an authoritarian government. They had absolute control over India.
Capples, by that definition, every single government that has had a vassal state would be authoritarian.
Yes!
Yeah! No fucking duh!
That's a definition of...
This is like when somebody does the whole, if you press this button, Trump gets prosecuted for all of his crimes. But when you do, all the Democrats will be prosecuted for their crimes too. Ooh, I'm so evil! The leftists won't possibly press the... Why'd you press the button? No, stop! Why do you keep pressing the button? Stop pressing the button! Why do you keep doing that? Like, as if we don't want that prosecution to happen across the fucking board. Said, bro, you'd smash that button? Yeah, that buttonoosy's getting fucking railed!
Of authoritarianism that's so broad as to be almost useless. Almost no governments have been non-authoritarian.
Yes! You're getting it!
His brain's broken!
But that's insane. That would make it almost practically impossible to ever actually have an expansionist empire at all.
What? Wait,
yeah, we don't want an expansionist empire. That is like...
Why do you need an expansionist empire? What the fuck? Why does he need that? But if you do that, then you won't be able to expand the glorious empire. Don't you want to expand the glorious empire and bring white civilization to those crusty old nations that also contain white people, but we ignore them so we can get angry? The fuck?
Exactly what needs to die.
I'm in favor of expansionist empires as long as they're not authoritarian.
You can't have that. That's a contradiction.
No, an expansionist empire is authoritarian. That is a thing that they do. What? Was it okay for Russia to annex Crimea? Is that what we're doing now? Why are expansionist empires okay? Why is this a thing that's all right? That everybody is okay with an expansionist empire because they're under the harebrained delusion that their empire, their favorite one, is going to be the expansionist empire that they get to live under. That they're under that idea. And because they're under that idea, the idea of expansionist empire feels good, because wouldn't it be just good if everything were under the sun of jolly old Britain again? Like, no. That's not how that works. This is like when people are like, "I'm in favor of an actual theocracy." Didn't you know? Look, when God expanded the water, He wanted there to be a theocracy in America. But the dumb liberals keep on trying to say that that's not a good thing. That's why I have the Whack an Atheist show, to prove that I am a civilized person who would never fall into things like violence ever. That's why I have Whack an Atheist. Didn't you know? Theocracy's good. Never in my life would a Muslim theocracy or a pagan theocracy come up. That would never happen. Just, what?
Prediction, you can't have a non-authoritarian empire. Empires need conflict to survive. They need blood.
Life needs conflict to survive. So when the British...
No, it really doesn't. It only needs conflict to survive because we're used to conflict. Just because human beings aren't creative enough to avoid that is not a me issue or a you issue or a human issue.
The British Empire in India made it illegal to burn widows. Was that authoritarian or non-authoritarian?
Wait, they made it illegal to burn widows?
Yeah, it was an accepted practice at the time to burn widows until the British Empire made it illegal. For that matter, when the British Empire went to the various feuding principalities of West Africa, such as the Kingdom of Dahomey, and made it illegal to trade in slaves, was that authoritarian? That was one state exerting influence over another. Was that authoritarian, Kethels?
Wait, I mean... the point here is that they exerted power over another state to make it so that they can't do something that is morally questionable? Because what if...
This fucking priest, this asshole piece of shit priest, ran away from a group of Murlocs and brought them the fuck to me. This piece of fucking garbage. Die in a fucking fire. Jesus Christ. I was fine when it was one Murloc. I was fine when it was two, and then all the other Murlocs came because that one dude ran away from them because he couldn't handle his own goddamn shit. I just wanted to play a little bit of WoW while I was listening to a terrible debate from a terrible fucking person. Lunar Muse, even if it's a tangent, the recording button is still there, and it is still going. I'm just angry. Stupid fucking priests can't handle their own goddamn shit. Burn in a fucking fire. Every one of you who leads mobs to somebody in a hardcore realm. Said Sarah's angry at priests? Yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm perfectly fine being angry at priests. Why'd they do that? Because they're pieces of shit. That's exactly why. I guess everybody who's used to seeing my videos and is not used to seeing me angry when video game stuff happens, no. Human beings are garbage. When human beings do garbage things in an MMO, they're garbage people. That's how that works. Said priest Artosaurus like where little is to CJ? I guess we create a new character.
What are the other things?
Power over another state to ensure that the rights of individual people were respected. And indeed, I would note when they were talking about exports in Bengali famine, were they forcing Indian farmers to sell their crops, or were they just paying a higher price to individual Indian farmers?
I mean, I could.
Was their authoritarianism in effect just outbidding individual Indian suppliers?
Did you know that authoritarians can also do good things? Did you know that's a thing? Did you know these conversations can have nuance? Did you know that? Sarah, what level did you die at? I died at level 10. I died at level 10. I was literally 3 kills away from getting level 11, or 1 quest turned in away. It was at 10, and it wasn't even my fault. It was some dumbass piece of goddamn shit. Nah. I don't need more of this debate. I don't need more of this. I'm listening to a person be an absolute idiot, and I am not in the mood now. I am not in the mood. So we're just gonna let you guys. If there's a part in this debate that I missed that I need to desperately see, let me know in the comment section below. I'm gonna go do something else. Internet video tagline here.